Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 57 of Cross Button VR, our journey into the world of PS VR2. A show for those who want to share in our love for the world of VR. Now, I'm your host, Laurie, and if you didn't know, we are part of the Cross Players. So, if you like what you hear, check out links to all of our stuff in the description for this very episode. Now, it's an honor to be joined by two of the most meta influencers in the metaverse. It's Alex and Reese. Hello, chaps.
Hello.
Hello.
I feel like you are meta influencers because you've been lobbying Ben quite hard this week, haven't you, to pick up a Quest? You're just anyone, really, not just Ben. Me as well, just everyone.
Well, the Quest 2's dropped now, so, you know.
Dropped in price, is it?
Yeah. Done £50 off, £200 a headset.
If I was getting a Quest, I can't quote Quest. Although that Quest S, there's a Quest 3S, which is like some sort of cheaper.
Quest 3s.
Threes. Yeah. If you buy two threes, it's somehow
I'm
cheaper.
going to go buy a few of them and then I've got Quest 3s.
That is confusing, yeah, they possibly be there. But yeah, I think Ben, I think you're going to get him. I think you're going to get him if you just keep lobbying him.
I think eventually, he'll find something. Go, oh, yeah, that does look like something I want. So
They're very complimentary of each other.
Yeah, definitely. We did say this the other
day. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what can you do on a Quest you can't do on a PSVR2, I wonder? That might appeal to Ben. Fitness tracking, of course. Fitness tracking, of course.
Hand tracking.
Hand tracking. Yeah. Let's move on.
We've all seriously got the giggles today. Like, even through the intro, I was giggling for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, good. Let's put some of that fun, happy energy into the rest of this episode. And let's start with the news. Dun, 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 dun. There you go. Jingle. Before we get on the news, I mentioned last week about a Synapse video, and I did not do it justice because I said, "Oh yeah, Synapse video somewhere on the internet. Just go out and find it." Well, I've actually written down now. It's by Road to VR, and they do a series called Inside XR Design, and they put out, I think, 5 episodes of this now. And the latest one was on Synapse, and I implore everyone who's into VR to just go off and watch the whole series, but in particular watch this episode of about Synapse, and it just explains about the design of it and why the design of it is so good, and it explains about kind of this concept of embodiment, which is different from immersion, being kind of like your game. All VR games are immersive; they all have your full attention, so they're all immersive. But it's more embodiment around how the tricks that Synapse does to give you that feeling of being there. So it's things like when you obviously all the telekinesis and also the touching of the walls, and so you can grab the walls and move around and get into cover, and you can reload by just hitting your clip into the wall and stuff. So it's all these little touches that it does that just anchors the place. Your brain kind of makes you feel like you're there much more realistically. And honestly, it really helped explain to me, like, I really like Synapse. And now I can understand a lot better why I love it and why it really stands out for me in terms of VR experiences. So I would really implore everyone to watch it. And it just, yeah, I think it's great work for helping people kind of understand the sort of design and the concept of VR and how to design games in that medium as opposed to non-VR games. So yeah, proper plug this time for Road to VR's excellent series there. Apologies for being so crap last week. There we go. On to the news. Ghostbusters has got a new film out. Frozen Empire, I believe it's called. And Sony have revealed today that there is a big new free DLC expansion coming in line with the film. It's coming out on March 28th, which is the very day this podcast goes live. And yeah, it's 5 new story-based missions. It's got Dan Aykroyd back in it, and he was in the last Slimer update as well, so they're still in it. They relocate the game. You're in New York City. You go around the original firehouse base they have. You get the original proton packs. So it's like this is the proper experience that all the Ghostbusters fans. This will be a fanboy's dream. I think this gives you everything. They also added an update that allows you just to choose what mission you want. Any mission you want from the game, you can just choose it. So if you need to just get the completion up. You don't have to wait for the modes to rotate around and to give you the mode you need and the location you need. You can just choose to do it. So I think it's going to make it a big quality of life improvement there. And they're adding new characters from the games. The original characters are in it as well. You can choose as skins. So yeah, it's a big Ghostbusters update. And pretty cool. There's like a proper narrative campaign that's been added to it as well, which I will admit is now making me want to go back and play it.
Yeah. It's nice to see this content coming, and it is what we hoped for from this. We hope to see at least a little bit of narrative, a little bit of the original stuff. So yeah, definitely going to pick it up again and go back to it. And that is a very welcome quality of life improvement around the mission select, because you were sitting there like waiting for it to refresh. I'm like, I don't want to do that one again. Like, just let me pick what I want to do. So that makes far more sense.
I think just the level of content they've added is something that I complained about, I'd say, when it first came out, was just the lack of content there. It didn't feel like it was enough to call it a game. But with more being added, it's definitely got me excited.
Yeah, it's definitely a game, and I suppose all these live service games, it's the same situation. What the game that launches on day one and then the game 6 months later is a very different proposition. And I feel like someone who's never played it now, jumping in, I would still stress you want to find a group of friends that you can play this with. But now there's more you can do, and if you can play for a story together and just have a laugh doing that, especially if you've got some friends that are Ghostbusters fans, I think you would absolutely love this game. I think if you don't have friends and you're not really a big Ghostbusters fan, then it's probably not going to do anywhere near as much for you. But if you've got a group of people that are into Ghostbusters, then I think it's a great way to spend some time.
I think we should get Benji Kong on and we should stream it, and the 4 of us should go and play it.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, as long as you don't cross the streams.
Oh, yeah.
You like that, didn't you, Reece?
It was the face you pulled that did it for me. I was like,
Plenty more where that came from. Right, okay, well, anyway, so let's try and play that next week when it comes out, and then we can talk about it next Friday.
Sounds good.
And maybe we'll stream it.
Just not to correct you, Laurie, but it's not the day this episode comes out. It's
What?
2 days after this episode comes out.
You couldn't wait, could you? Could not? Oh, okay, well, we might not have a bit of time to play it. We might get in there if we can play it next Thursday. It comes out next Thursday. Apologies for everyone. My calendar betrayed me.
Well, you got the right date. You just get the right date for what was coming out. You just got the
Yeah, don't worry. We're not going to make you wait an extra 2 days to listen to this pod. Yeah, well, it's okay. We might not get a chance to play it before we record next week. So I don't know, we'll play it at some point. But right, move on.
We'll give it a go at some point. Yeah, we'll get there.
But thank you, Alex, for creating my faux pas. I will.
You can always trust me.
You can always trust Alex. That's what I always say. Always trust an Alex. Next up, we've had a date for Soul Covenant, April the 18th. If anyone's looking forward to that one, you don't have too much longer to wait. I was actually surprised that's quite soon, isn't it? It's like just under a month away. So yeah, that's cool. We still haven't seen too much about this one. There's a few kind of baffling story trailers, but it does look quite cool. We remain intrigued to see what the gameplay is going to be like. Reece, is this one for you?
I'm interested in it, but as you said about the trailers, I feel like I've seen the same trailer every time, just with different wording. That's how I've seen it. But no, I'm looking forward to just swinging my arms around and attacking things. It just seems like one of them games that can,
The trailer just because it's kind of just like impenetrable kind of JRPG or Japanese action game. It's just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I feel like you can get some really good combos, and I think that'd be quite fun in VR. So I'm looking forward to giving it a go. Don't know if it'd be for me completely, but we'll see.
We shall see. Well, we shall. Something that Alex, your eagle eyes once again, Stride Fates. You spotted that on the PSN store listing. No release date announced for it, but it's no kind of announcement either for it. And just looking online for it, I still can't see any kind of tweets or anything from anyone about it. So I think you're the only person that's noticed this, Alex. Although hopefully by the time this episode goes out, someone else may have noticed it. But this is a quest game that came out, I want to say November last year.
Yep.
Reece, you play it?
Yep, a lot.
It's a Mirror's Edge with shooting kind of combat.
Although you don't
mechanics.
need to do the shooting as much if you don't want to. You can run up to them, grab their arms. You can beat them up. You don't have
grab their arm.
No, seriously,
and then
the way you can just smash their head against walls. It's the way they've made it is the enemies fully grippable. You don't, you can hold one of their arms while you're literally shooting at someone else, and then go back to shooting that person. It gives you that kind of John Wick-esque feel at the same time as well, which is really, you kind of have this playground to do what you want to kind of make it as, well, I suppose, as messed up as you really want it to be.
I was going to say, it doesn't sound like a very kind game, Reece.
No, it's not. But the parkour is really fun, and it has kind of like a little system as well. You go inside digital worlds, which is quite cool. There's puzzles here and there, and a really decent story as well.
Okay.
So it's quite lengthy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks really good. It looks like a really cool mix of gameplay of sort of parkour, and then shooting, and it reminded me of sort of Tiger Blade, but obviously completely different style of gameplay, but that kind of very fast, kinetic kind of action, stringing together of movement and combos and stuff.
But no, I think it's something a lot of people are going to enjoy. My only concern that I have is because when I play it on Quest, I literally rotate my whole body a lot. So I'm a bit concerned when playing it on PSVR2 that I won't be able to do that, because when I run across walls on it, I end up rotating my body around to jump off and then kind of do like a 360 myself as opposed to using the analogs. So I don't know, we'll see, but I think I'll be able to work around that.
Let's hope. Our viewers and listeners will be they'll be looking out for you, Reece.
Or trip over the wire and just make for some good fun.
Yeah. Your missus will come into the room and she'll be there like on a heap, all tangled up, like, oh my god, what's happened to Reece?
Just leave him there.
just leave him there.
You're fine? Yeah, I'm fine. Cool.
Cool. And then this is not really PSVR2 news, but we're going to cover it anyway. And that Max Mustard has come out on Quest this week and has been getting great reviews. This is kind of the Astrobot style game, 3D platformer type thing. And you two have both been playing it. And you not only have you been playing it, you've recorded your thoughts on a side quest episode, which came out last week, I guess now. Yep. But yeah, you were both very impressed by it, right?
Yeah,
very impressed.
It's very well done. I don't think I think the biggest complaint I've probably seen about the game, and not to start on I am starting on a complaint, but it's not really a complaint. It's like it seems quite childish, and it is to an extent, but not to its detriment. I mean, it's nostalgic, I would say, rather than childish. Like, if you think of those games, your Mario games, those kind of platformers and all the different bits and pieces from that, it's got a bit of all of that in there.
Your Spyros and stuff like that.
And it plays beautifully. Like, it is so satisfying. I think the way the camera follows you as you're platforming, I think, is incredibly well done. Like, the interaction with it is just such a lovely little game. It's not too, and it doesn't overstay its welcome either. It's not too long. There's a lot of kind of collectibles and stuff. If you want to kind of do the 100% on it, you'd probably be quite happy just playing it over and over again every so often. I think this will do so well when it hits PSVR2. I think more games like this, please. I think there's a huge gap for this type of game in VR because it's all this first person, all this shooting. Give me a 3D platformer with this type of innovation in it. I'd happily play it over again.
Yeah, and there's not really been a big announcement for it, but you have confirmed, the devs have confirmed that it is coming to PSVR2 later this year.
Yep.
So we don't know when, but hopefully not too long to wait. I mean, I guess I can live with games if they've got to come out on Quest first because that's where the biggest market is. It makes sense. But then if they then come to PSVR2 later and they can spend some time, just polishing the visuals and upgrading them where possible, and then get it in a good state to release on PSVR2, I'm cool with that. That's fine. I don't mind. Especially because we've got a kind of pipeline of stuff that it's not. There's always other new stuff coming out all the time, so it doesn't matter if the Max Mustard comes out kind of 3 months from now or 6 months from now. There's stuff to play between now and then anyway. So, I can live with it as long as the games come, and I can understand devs have got to do what they've got to do. They've got to go for where they get the most sales. So, it makes total sense.
Definitely one to keep an eye out for, though. Definitely.
Well, if people want to hear more of your thoughts, they can do so by looking on this podcast feed or on this YouTube channel and just seeing the previous SideQuest episode. Yep. Cool. Well, as a topic this week, talking of new releases and things that are coming out to keep us busy, there's been loads of stuff that we've been playing and loads of new stuff as well. So we thought, actually, we're just going to spend some time going through all our thoughts on all of these new releases. And that's really going to be the rest of the episode and the topic of the week, really. Before we get onto that, though, if people would like to support us, please give the podcast a sub on the service they're using. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe too, and leave us a comment so we can read and laugh at those. You follow us on Twitter at CrossbuttonVR and at the Crossplayers. And if you would really like to show the love, you can do so via patreon.com/the Crossplayers. And for £2 a month, you can help sponsor the show and gain entry into our superb little WhatsApp group. It's all right, really. And for anyone out there that is interested in them, you can check out VR Rock for prescription lenses for your VR headsets. That's vr-rock.com. And you can use the code CBVR and get 10% off and free worldwide shipping as well. Cool. Where would you like to start, gents, with what we've been playing? Alex, I'll let you choose first what you'd like to talk about.
Should we start with the headliner? It's HappyFunland's probably the headliner.
Go on then, HappyFunland. No, I haven't played this one. This is just recent, and Alex, you two have played this one. Go on then. How is it for you?
It's a funny one, right? This is probably one of the most bizarre games I've ever played. Right, the premise of this is you're going to explore this abandoned theme park, which is basically based on Disney World. The whole premise of it is based on like the rodent is based on Mickey Mouse. Walt Grizzly is based on Walt Disney. Like it is basically an abandoned Disney theme park.
It's not
like,
very subtle there.
There's no. I don't know if his name's Walt, but his surname's certainly Grizzly. And like the rides are based on like It's a Small World, like all the different Disney rides and stuff that within there. And the world itself is so well done. It's well lit. It looks good. The graphics of this game are good, and they're the things that we usually end up complaining about. But I'd say that is done really well. The world is designed really well, and that's where the good stuff ends. Like there's some bizarre choices, some incredibly bizarre choices in this game. Like there's not that I'm not one for like wanting smooth turning. There's no smooth turning in the game. There's no real options in the game. Like you can't really change anything. Like there is one way to play it, and if you want any sort of comfort options, they're not really there. The humor's a little bit.
It's really strange, isn't it? Because I mean, every VR game has got comfort options, just because different people have different mileage with stuff. People always want to jump in. I mean, every time I start a new game, I will always tinker with the settings, and I feel like that's not a discredit to the developers in any way. Like with a normal flat game, I tend to just go with what the defaults are unless I find a problem. But with VR games, I think no, I know what I like, and I will switch it to that and stuff. So give me the options. So yeah, that's really really strange.
They've also then built like you basically progress and unlock parts of the park by completing a mini golf hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst golf mechanics you've ever experienced in your life. Like,
is it no walkabout? No walkabout.
It's no walkabout. It's absolutely no walkabout. Like it's terrible. Like you're trying to hit this ball that's got no weight to it. It goes flying off the hole. You're like literally about this much away from the hole, and you're just trying to tap it in, and it goes the wrong way. It's dire. That's not. I don't think that's unfair, is it?
No, I couldn't even find a golf club for the first hole. Is there a golf club anywhere on the first one?
Yeah, you take the golf club off the side.
See, okay, so there's no golf clubs on the side for me. So I had to use one of them, them dustbins that you can kind of like mobile dustbin things sweeping up. I had to use one of them to do the golf. So
I mean, that's pretty cool that you could do that still.
I thought that's why it wasn't working, but my first hit, I was like, okay, I'm bad at walkabout mini golf, so I'm not going to be good at this. And I thought, surely this is not going to be that in depth. And as Alex said, the ball went literally, I think it went straight out the thing, hit the wall, and it disappeared. And I was like, oh, okay, can I spawn another ball? So I spawned another ball, did the exact same thing again, to the point where I was literally like just tapping it. The smallest tap, sent it to the end, I got a hole in one. I was like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to go. Yeah, it's the golf thing. I don't know why they did that. I was, a bit stumped as to why that was a decision.
Okay, but when you've got so you do the golf thing to unlock the levels. What is you doing in the levels though?
Basically, it's not really levels. Like you're like exploring different bits, but you're kind of wandering through bits of the park, and then you get locked in bits, and you need to work out your way to get out. And that might just be through defeating like the enemies, like which are like these robots or automatons or something. Like,
and how am I defeating them? Am I shooting them?
With
Okay, just whacking them with a golf club.
Or with a torch.
Or with a torch. And it's like the worst combat you've ever experienced, because you're literally waggling this putter. You like waggle in their face until their face explodes, and then after the face explodes, then the rest of them explodes, and it might take the other one out, but it's like bizarre.
And this does sound pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie.
But well, see, that's the thing, right? So when I tweeted about this on the CyubeVR account, I said I am actually enjoying this game, but I'm not enjoying it for the right reasons. Like, I'm not enjoying it for how it was intended to be played. I think it's quite funny. Like, there's no scare to this. Like, it is not a scary game. Like, there's supposed to be jump scares and they don't hit at the right points. It's just weird.
It's a shame because when you're describing it, it sounds like a really cool concept for a game. Like you're locked in a theme park, the different areas you have to explore, so it's kind of like a maze, and you're stuck in an area like in a ride. You have to, if it all worked and came together, brilliant. It sounds like a brilliant concept. You would absolutely sell me on it. That sounds like a really fun way. It's like, imagine if you like Switchback VR, if you could get out and just like if the ride malfunctioned and you were just left to fend for yourself. That would be cool.
And then the rides themselves will make you vomit. Like, so there's some rides that it's like there's some like waltzers, you can turn them off before you go on. Or there's like little aeroplanes, and you know how those flying aeroplanes you can sit on. Mm-hmm. So you need to basically get through one of them at one point, but you can't just walk past them. You go in and it takes you on it, and then it starts spinning you up and up and up and up, and you're literally like, I need to do this headset off. Like, it is so bad. Like,
we need to make Ben play this.
But then there's other bits where you're kind of trying to follow these characters to work out what's going on, right? And you're ultimately, like, the kind of crux of the story it gives you at the beginning is you're getting into, you've got this person who's hired you to have a camera on your head to go and film this part, because there's basically reports of like strange goings on and stuff like this, and it being haunted, and then they're saying he's actually like Walt Grizzly's like cryogenically frozen somewhere in the park, and then you're following this rodent that keeps appearing, and then suddenly it'll inject you with something, and it goes all this like as if you're on this weird trip, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? and it's just like, I think, see if the physics of the game were better and the mechanics were better, or this would be a really good game. I think because it looks, they've got the theme and the setting spot on. They've just, the rest of it's just let it down.
The mechanics don't quite come together. Nah. Yeah, man, that's a shame, because it's been like really long time we've been seeing it in showcases and trailers for it. It's had quite a long lead-in time, and that's I feel really gutted that it's not lived up to it, because it sounds really cool. And the way you describe it, it sounds like it should be good.
And as I say, I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to finish it, which I didn't, because I think I'm over. I think for the percentage of the story, I think it now saying I'm about 50 something. So I'm like I'm fairly well through it. It's not.
How long would you reckon it is to play?
It's only I think it's only maybe about 3 hours. Okay. I don't think it's hugely long based on what I've played to what. Unless that's completely wrong in terms of there's a whole other section to what's to come, but it doesn't feel like it is. But I will finish it, and I will laugh, but not, like I say, not.
This one, it's £20 on the PSN,
which it's hard to recommend it in the state that it's in. To be fair, because very hard to recommend. It's not. Well, see, state is the wrong word here, because it's not the game. That's the other thing to point out. The game runs okay. Like, there's no like, compared to some games you come out and they run like arse. Like, a lot of that is fine. It's just the choices and the design choices that have just feel. It doesn't feel fully thought through. I don't know, Reece, you're more experienced than me at these things, and I don't think you disagree with much that.
I don't disagree with a lot you said. Like, I completely agree with how it looks. Like, as soon as you load it up, you go, "Oh, the darks are really dark. The detail on certain things." Until you get really close to some stuff where they haven't put attention to detail there, then you notice it. The thing that threw me off straight away was the weird sense of humour they went for. I don't know how PG you want to keep this, but
no, you might as well just go for it.
It's, you literally, within the first 5 minutes of playing the game, you find a vibrator in a toolbox, and I just found it so strange and obscure that was there. Like, it was almost like, okay, if I found this anywhere else, maybe I may have laughed at it, but it just seemed too soon, too out there, and I don't know. yeah,
Is it kind of very kind of childish kind of demographic? It's going for that kind of teenage kind of humor. Dildos.
I think so. I feel like maybe 10 years ago I would have laughed at it because you can turn it on and it vibrates and it explodes and I was like,
yeah, I thought
about it. You got the haptic feedback in it.
You feel the vibration, but.
Right, I don't want to know how far you went with this, Reese. Just stop right there.
This is why I didn't want to mention it. Anyway,
you got a special peripheral.
Yeah.
If back at the move controllers of haptics, people would have loved this game a lot more.
Ben's got his thumbnail right there.
Does he want a picture of my hand? Okay, right. Anyway, so that straight away just kind of stop it, guys. Let's just push on through. Forget about the
that's what he said. On the PSN rating, let's help Reese out here. It's got 7 ratings, and I think 4 of them are 5-star, and then 1 4-star, 1 3-star, 1 1-star. So it says probably more about the rating system on the PSN.
I mean, if I was to rate it in that system currently, it would be no higher than a 2, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd say that a 2 as well. Simply because it does look really good. It does. But like Alex said, the combat, there is no weight behind it to the point where when you're hitting these enemies, you don't even feel like you're there. You don't feel like it's making contact. It just feels really boring, really lackluster, and I don't know why they didn't work on that a little bit more.
Do you know probably the best way I could describe like the combat? You would probably feel like you were waggling a feather duster in somebody's face. Like that's what it ultimately feels like.
We've all done that before, so
yeah. Have you not?
No. Cool. All right. Well, unless you've got any final thoughts, we better move on.
I'd say hold off for a patch, only simply for the settings wise. There's not enough there for anybody who may like to adjust their game a lot, especially for me. I can't play. I mean, I can play them in snap turning, but I don't enjoy it as much as smooth turning. So for me, instantly I loaded, I was like, oh no. So yeah, I'd say hold off for a quality of life patch. I think if they want to fix this, I think they can fix it. I'd say wait for that. There's still something there, I'd say.
Well, so on that subject then, that's going to be a nice segue over to Tin Hearts that I've been playing. You guys haven't played this yet, but I've been playing Tin Hearts, the new VR version of it. And again, that is a game that needs some quality of life updates and improvements for me. I'm finding the controls are really, really strange decisions in that there is snap and smooth movement, but you don't turn with the sticks. You have to turn using the kind of triangle and square buttons on the controller, and that just, whether it's smooth or snap, you still have to use the buttons. And I cannot for the life of me work out why, because you normally use the sticks to rotate pieces around, but that only works when you're holding a piece. If you're not holding a piece, you use the sticks, you can strafe with them. So I can't. I find it so hard to play, and also there's a lot of issues with the kind of graphics on it. Just are very kind of blurry, or very, very blurry. And someone that's been playing a lot of Red Matter 2 at the moment, which I'll talk about at some point in the next few weeks, which is absolutely pinch up, crystal clear, looks amazing. It just looks really soft and quite blurry, which is very surprising because it's not that graphically a taxing game.
And it
the actual gameplay
like that in the demo.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it just has a very soft focus, and there are bits in particular which are very jagged edges. Anything that's kind of lit by lighting, or anything that's kind of lit up, and when you highlight something, when you sort of focus on something to pick it up, and you can pick things up from afar with a kind of sort of ray that comes out of your hand. And when anything's kind of highlighted, it goes kind of really jaggy and low res. It's strange. So I think it's just kind of a visual update patch can hopefully fix it and do it. And I hope they take on board some player feedback with the movement settings and stuff, because it's just, I don't understand why it is what it is. And playing it, I just find it so awkward moving around and just looking around, which it shouldn't do, because you should be able to look around you in a room. And the actual gameplay itself is really nice. It's a very, very beautiful, lovely graphics, like the setting, the art style is lovely. The music is very nice, although the music's very kind of like violins and piano. It's very much like you will feel emotion from all of this music. It's very kind of lay it on very thick. But the gameplay itself is, it's a cool puzzle game concept. The little tin soldiers you have to kind of make a path for them to get from the box they're starting to the end point of the room. and they march along, and you get various kind of upgrades throughout the levels to increase the complexity and the power that you have over them and stuff. And then the narrative that plays out as you're going through the different rooms. You see these kind of ghostly, I don't know, memories, I guess, of a father and daughter, and the father's like tinkering away on all his machines and stuff, and the daughter's there getting involved and stuff. And so I haven't played a huge amount of it. I've only played the first half a dozen or so levels, but yeah, those are my initial thoughts on it. It's just like, I hope they get some feedback and patch it. And yeah, to be fair, we do see VR devs are quite responsive and do listen and take on board people's comments and stuff. And yeah, I really want to play more of it because I really like the puzzle concept and the actual gameplay of it. It just needs a bit more refinement for me.
Yeah. It's a shame, and it just feels a bit odd because I certainly don't remember any of those things from the demo. So it just feels like something's not quite right, and just as you say, maybe it just needs tweaked. And hopefully they can do that sooner rather than later.
Like I said, I mean, before I said I had the issues with the EGX demo, but when they released that demo, I think it was near Christmas time on the PlayStation. I didn't have any issues with that one. Apart from being able to, I think I teleported through a door. That was the only bit it took me back. I was able to go back.
Yeah, I've not had any kind of glitches.
But
like
everything else seemed very smooth. Like when you said about the blocks, I didn't find them janky on the previous demo at all. So
it's even like when they bring up the menu, I can't read the text in the menu because it's so kind of low res and jaggy and stuff. Like reading the text, it's just like, this doesn't look right, and there's something it's just going wrong with it. And it's not my headset because I fucking switched to playing Red Matter 2. Everything looks perfect. So it's just there's just something going on with the game, sadly. But as I say, the gameplay itself really nice. You can tell it's a quality game there. The actual core gameplay mechanics and stuff, and you can still can play it. I can still overcome the kind of the movement frustration and the graphics. You don't need to. You can still play it fine. It still does look good, even if it's just very kind of soft focus. But you think, come on, the PS5 can run this, no problems. It's not that graphically taxing. It should work fine. So I hope they patch it, and I'd love to come back to it if they do. So that's Tin Hearts. Hopefully everyone else can play it in the coming weeks and add your thoughts. Reese, do you want to talk about CyubeVR? Because that's been quite a big release this week. Just try and spend a few minutes. We're just conscious of time. We're running out of time. But
a lot of people compare it to Minecraft, but obviously it's not as filled as Minecraft just yet because there is plans to add more as far as I'm aware. But as far as visuals go, it's stunning. The lighting is probably some of the best I've seen in the headset so far. Like when you see the lights come over the mountains and then kind of disappear onto the other side as you're standing there, you see the darkness kind of, it's really well done. Mm-hmm. The animals in it look good. Mining in the darkness is creepy, even though there's nothing there to be worried about. But there is some little odd bits here and there as well.
Sorry, wait, is it Minecraft essentially? You're doing the same stuff you do in Minecraft as in...
Yeah. You mine things, build things, craft better things, to mine better things. But with there being no enemies or end game content like you have in Minecraft going off like the Ender boss and all that kind of stuff, you don't have any of that on here. So it comes to the point of, why are you doing all this? Because essentially you're doing all this to then unlock better blocks to make a better looking house. But if that's not your type of thing, I think you're going to struggle to find that enjoyment from it. Whereas with people with Minecraft, some people completely exclude building the houses and just go for getting the best stuff, best armor, and going hunting and try to do the end game content that they added on that.
Yeah, I mean, Minecraft is like a brilliant game. There is so much depth to it, and you can play it however you want, and the game just allows that and engages with you however you want to engage with it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I think if anyone's got a creative mind and does like building houses and things like that, just wants something peaceful to play, it'll definitely give you that. And I think it looks really good. It's enjoyable. Some of the menu system takes a while to get used to, so just bear with it. But I think the one thing for me that's mainly missing is the multiplayer. The world is so huge, but it just feels so empty. So like you've got none of your friends there, you've got no enemies roaming around, so you can just stand there in the darkness and nothing can really come past you. You're just standing there. So I think it's the emptiness that kind of faded it from me.
I mean, you've got to think, when Minecraft launched, it's a very different game to what it is now, completely different. And so if this is the launch, even this got one guy making this. If he can add it and build on it and layer on more and more content to it and more complexity and depth.
Was it Minecraft one guy at one point?
All right. Well, yeah, but when that came out, it's probably very basic as well. Didn't look as good as this game, did it?
No,
it still doesn't.
I'm not diminishing what he's done at all. I'm not diminishing that. He's done a great job, like literally in terms of graphics and things like that. And he does have the intention to add mobs and things like that, and also multiplayer. He has stated that. But I think obviously you've got to kind of look at it from the standpoint of how much that's going to cost for him to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably a way to put it out and can get some money in from it and carry on developing it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And on that point, I think it was sitting at like the second best-selling PSVR2 game on the store.
It's doing really well.
So it's doing really well. And I think there is more in the Steam version. So the Steam version does have more content as far as aware. I think there is a bit more in there than it's got in the PSVR2 version at the minute. So there is potential for more to come.
Yeah, I think the more that I'm waiting for is still not on the Steam version. That's the mobs and just multiplayer. But when that comes, I think I'll play it a lot more. But for what it is at the moment, if I do want something chilled, I do enjoy playing it just for something nice and chilled. So yeah, it's worth checking out, I think.
That's cool. Well, I hope you find success, and it's one to keep an eye on as it evolves and grows, and maybe one we can revisit in future months and the years ahead. Alex, do you want to very quickly talk about a game that I'd never heard of before?
Yeah, so this will be very quick because there's not much to say about this. Good. So Forest Farm is one that's appeared on the store a few weeks ago, and it's coming out next week or just a couple of days after this episode. So I tried to play this today, and it's just it's almost a kind of farming simulator that kind of not quite Stardew Valley, but like more you get a spade, you get an axe, you get a fishing rod, you get a watering can to go and make. I didn't get past the tutorial because the fishing rod didn't work, and you were supposed to try and catch a fish. You were trying to throw it in. The line was going all over the place, and it just wouldn't straighten. You couldn't then catch a fish, and I'm like, "Fuck this!" Like, nah, don't waste your time on this game. From my first impression, like. Again, I'm probably doing this a disservice and people will come out and say they love this game, but I was so frustrated within trying to do the tutorial that there is no chance of me loading this game back up again.
Well, damning. Well, let's move on to something a bit more complicated. Something a bit more complicated that Reese and I have been playing, and this is the Twilight Zone VR. Now, Reese, you have finished this game.
I did. Do you want to go first with your thoughts, or do you want to go first?
Well, do you platinum it?
Not yet, but I'm intending to.
Oh, so it does have platinum. Okay, well, I'll go first, and I'll talk about what I do like about it. I really like how they've really embraced the whole kind of Twilight Zone-ness of it. I really like the kind of the music, how the little tricks it plays on you. I think there's some really good ideas there. How when you jump into it, there's a lot of things that are kind of unsettling, unnerving. There's a lot of clever things, and it uses the hardware in ways. There's a lot of kind of VR tricks that. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to talk about them. And I also like how each 3 episodes of the game, they each take about 40 minutes to an hour. You say to do?
Yeah, 40 minutes to an hour. I think is fair.
So all very short, but they're all completely different, and not just different settings and episodes, but completely different gameplay. Which I really appreciate. And what do you think? You kind of the settings, the story. It is 3 completely unrelated stories in a kind of Twilight world. So it's just like 3 episodes of the TV show, I guess. Where so that's the good part of it. I will have to say though that I have not enjoyed the bits of it that I've played. I didn't really get very far in the first episode. I played that. First episode is kind of a kind of an Alien Isolation style game where you're a hide and seek sort of style gameplay. You're a video game developer trapped in your offices late at night at Christmas, I believe, and you're being stalked by, how much should I say, Reese? I don't know. Being stalked by something that is trying to get you. Yeah. And it's it's supposed to be kind of quite scary, and you can hide under desks and stuff. But for me, I couldn't work out what to do or where to go, and I walked around for ages thinking you walk quite slowly. You can't seem to be able to kind of run very fast. I couldn't work out to go any faster, so I was walking quite slowly around this office, and I could not. The only room I could see, there were some doors that I needed a key card for, but I could not for the life of me find where a key card was, and I was walking around ages. So I don't know if I'm just really stupid. Reese, you found the key cards, so obviously they're there. I just didn't spot them, but I was looking around. I was picking anything up that I could see to try and interact with it, just to try and find something to trigger something else to happen. I kind of felt like I was like, is this not working properly? I don't understand. Like, should something be loading? Should something else happen here? There was a few times that I saw the thing that was chasing me, but it didn't really interact with me at all or come after me at all. It was just chasing other people. So yeah, in the end, I was just like, okay, but I can't work this out. I'll play the second one, which was more of a first-person shooter type thing, which kind of made me laugh in how just like flimsy it is, would be my kind of way of describing it. And I guess you can't just make a first-person shooter. They're complex, hard things to make, and this is like they've had to go. This is very kind of a light build of one, and so the graphics are completely very, very basic. This is very much a Quest port. Textures especially are like really low rates, like N64 style textures. It looks bad.
That's me. No, they're not N64.
All right, Switch.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Wii. Right, we'll go Wii. Somewhere
we're going to Switch.
And you get a gun, and there's kind of these monsters that come at you, and they just kind of move towards you with no kind of real AI. They just kind of slowly move towards you, and you've got plenty of time to line up your shots, and you shoot them. One shot kills them, and they just disappear. Poof, they're just gone. And there's no explanation as to where these monsters come from, why they're there, what they're doing, what they're all about. And you're on some quest to find your missing daughter. It doesn't. None of it makes any sense. You're like, what? I don't understand. And then you're in these tunnels, and you just go very slowly through these tunnels. You've got this gas mask, oxygen mask thing on, which it's just, you've got kind of Darth Vader breathing constantly throughout it. And I don't understand why they didn't have that for like 10 seconds and then fade it out. And it's so loud and so annoying. It's so constant that after, I think I got probably about halfway through that episode, and I was like, this just too tedious for me. I wasn't enjoying it. So yeah. So that was my thing. It's only £16 release. So if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone and you want to see some cool VR tricks, there is stuff to recommend with it, and it's not a long game. So if you're not liking the gameplay, you can kind of just push through it. And some people will enjoy it for just I really admire that there are 3 complete variety of gameplays, settings, stories, all wrapped up in a package. So I think it's smart, but for me, the execution's not quite strong enough. I think it doesn't look or play well enough. So yeah. That's my take.
I think the premise itself is really well done. The premise of each episode is really well done. But like you said, with episode 2, it doesn't really. Why are the monsters there? There's no real explanation to it, is there? So I think for me as well, that was the exact same thing I thought was, where's the explanation for this? But overall, the graphics of it are really good. Well, I wouldn't say really good. You said low res, but the first episode looks better than the second episode. And as you get to the third episode, that looks pretty poor. Like you said, they're all very short, about 45 minutes each. I think the story is the strongest aspect of it, definitely. There's not really much stronger than the actual story itself. But it did have some really cool things that I did like. Like on the first episode, you can add your voice to it, and this kind of adds the voice to the character. But then I found out when you close the game, reopen it, your voice disappears and just goes to a default. So it's a bit kind of lost there. The AI on all of it is really poor. All the AI, just very, very bad. So that's, for me, that's not great. And then going on further, as you get through it, the second episode, straight away when you pick up the gun, you will say this is a Metro ripoff. The minute I picked it up, I was like, this is just Metro. And it just doesn't feel, it just feels a bit disingenuous with it. But overall, I enjoyed some of it, but not all of it. I think you're right with how you said the execution of it's quite poor. But for me, I did have quite a bit of fun with it. And I think it's the first 2 episodes I enjoyed. The third one, it just went on for too long for me, the third one. And there was an alternate ending as well, so that's worth noting as well. Yeah,
I do. Yeah, there's a lot to mind. I think if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone, you like the whole kind of setting, because they use
So I've never seen
the
Twilight
guys.
Zone.
But they use the guy's voiceover from the original TV show, and the music's there, and it just, a lot of that kind of package of it is really well done and really clever. And I can say the actual playing of the games is quite short. So if you bought this and you wanted to play through it all, and the stories themselves, like you say, they are intriguing, good
definitely.
setups, and they're quite clever. It's all clever, and the writing seems like it's just not the second one.
No, it's a bit weird, but like you said, where it
is weird, but it is weird. But it's this Twilight Zone. It is weird. It is a very strange type thing, and it's quite a funny concept for the second one. The UK government shoots a probe into the sun, and that wipes out 97% of life. That's in like the opening text. You think, "Wow, that escalated quick."
I would definitely recommend playing all the episodes though, just because in each one you will notice little hints here and there to the previous episode. Otherwise, you won't really kind of get what that means. So, not that you necessarily need to, because they don't really kind of give anything to make you need to know what they mean. But it's also like, I've seen that in the other one. But 2 to 4 hours. I think 2 hours it was to complete the whole thing, and I'd probably say 4 hours to get the platinum.
Yeah,
because there's chapter and scene select as well. So
yeah, so I mean, for the 16 quid it's not a huge amount of money. If it sounds like something you'd enjoy, know that the gameplay is kind of a bit basic.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
if you go in knowing that, I think you can still have fun just kind of seeing the different settings and just seeing the ideas they throw at you and use and stuff. I think there is stuff to appreciate there.
Yeah, I think you'll find some enjoyment in it, but not as much as you would for like a big horror game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that should about wrap us up for today. What do you think, chaps?
I think so.
Any other final thoughts?
Sounds good to me.
I've got one. Just because you mentioned it, it's like, when you said about that one having a platinum. HappyFunland doesn't have a platinum. It's got lots and lots of trophies, but it doesn't have a platinum.
Ton of trophies, yeah. So for you platinum hunters out there, you're going to turn your head straight away.
Wow.
That's my final thought. It's not a good
one. Twilight, actually, one of the trophies did pop. I don't like trophies, but one of them popped, and it made me laugh because it was a good pun. So I did appreciate that. If you're giving your trophies pun names, I can't think of it as a sort of.
I was hoping you could think of it, because for me, it stopped showing the notification for the trophies on the VR while I was playing Twilight Zone, so I didn't know any of them were popping.
Nothing popping.
No,
okay,
nothing.
Well, maybe I'll see if I'll look up a trophy list. We can add a link to something. I don't know. Anyway, cool. All right, well, everyone, thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could please tell your family and your friends all about us. And if you'd like to get more involved with the rest of us, please do not hesitate to drop into our Discord and say hello. Last but not least, thank you to our patrons for supporting the work we do. We bloody love you. I've been your host, Laurie. These two have been Alex and Reese, and we will see you again next time. Until then, though, it's goodbye.